Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our Astrobot Let's Play. I'd love to tell you what we did last time. Unfortunately for me, that was a while ago. That was about half a month ago. I feel like we probably unlocked this. Yeah, Serpent Starway. We've done both of the little nebulas that bring us to other dimension or other the Lost Nebula or whatever. Let's just start with the level, right? I've got so much I want to say today, so I'm almost hoping that these levels are boring, so I have less to talk about. Oh, this one looks cool though. Moon in the back, kind of sick. Okay, hold on. What do we? Just a single bot. Okay, it's probably right at the end too. Okay, we've done one just like this. Oh, that's not good. Okay. So, normally when I talk about my recording schedule, it kind of changes moderately frequently. It's kind of on a semester by semester basis because I'm a college student. For those of you that don't know, I'm a full-time college student. You know, hopefully not for much longer. I think I'm actually going to be able to graduate a little bit early, which is super exciting. But my recording schedule has kind of taken a punch in the face. I like to record a lot in advance because as a college student, I never really know what weeks I'm going to have a lot of time and then what weeks all my classes are going to come together and give me every single giant project in the span of a day. Whoa! Okay. So I'm kind of like always preparing for the worst. And a lot of times that doesn't like necessarily come into play. Like a lot of times I just end up having like another week or two in advance of recording. And that paid off pretty well here. So the time of recording this, which is on June 2nd, is the date of recording this. I actually technically don't need to record another video till I think June 13th is the first day. Oh no, June 13th is the first day. I actually don't have another video scheduled. That was pretty easy. How do I? That didn't work. I can't believe I just did that. I should just... Oh, okay. Hey, buddy. But again, I like to have a decent backlog. You know what I mean? Just in case something comes up. And recently, something has come up, I think you could say. So I've recorded a couple videos in the current situation that I'm in. But not a whole lot. I've actually been kind of neglecting my recording schedule that I had kind of set for myself, which I normally try to get at least 12 videos recorded in a week. That way, it's like a doable amount. Like, I try to do 6 in one day on one game. So, like, actually probably what I'll do here, I'll probably do 6 episodes of Astrobot, and then get some other work done for some other stuff that I want to do today. And then 6 another day, and then that's 12 for the week, which obviously takes care of the 7 days a week, because I have daily uploads, and then gives me almost a full week extra that I can kind of build up on. What am I supposed to do right now? Take these guys out? Oh. This is kind of cool. Okay. And dang. Okay. The reason that that's worked so well for me is, believe it or not, I would attribute that not only to I have like a weirdly obsessive relationship with work, which isn't the healthiest, admittedly. This is gonna be a little tougher than I thought. I'm definitely what you would consider a workaholic. I get all my work done as fast as I can, as well as I can, immediately. Just so, because I go with the idea of like, you know, you do all the hard work now, you can use the time to relax later. You know what I mean? I can remember like even I was in aftercare in elementary school, and during our like scheduled like recess time, like we would have homework time, but most of the time that wasn't really enough. It was probably like 20 minutes, and then like even in elementary school, like 20 minutes ain't enough to do all your homework. This is really difficult. And during our scheduled recess time, I would still be doing my homework, and I can remember one of my friends asked me, they were like, dude, you know you don't have to do this right now. And that's like the first time I like logicked out why my brain works like that. And it was the idea of like, well, if I do all this now, instead of like, running around this field. That's all we really had, running around the field. When I go home, I can play Pokemon on my DS. So like I either do the work now and play Pokemon later, or I run around this empty field now and do my homework later. And I was like, I know which one I prefer. So but yeah, so I would record a bunch in advance. I do all my schoolwork in advance, just everything as early as I can. Anything that can be considered work, I try to get done as fast as I can. And normally that's helped me with my recording schedule, because I'm just like, okay, I'll just record 12 episodes a week. That gives me my 7. Dude, I'm doing this is really bad right now. Can I stun them somehow, you think? Did I die? I did. I'm trying to carve out their little area, in case that's not clear. Let me lock in. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Oh no. No, we're fine. We're fine. There we go. There we go. There we go. I just needed to really focus. I'm sorry. I apologize for not talking there. I was getting sick of losing. This guy's got a cute little outfit. But the reason that I've been able to do that is as a college student, I have 3 roommates normally, and I'm actually right now I'm taking a summer semester. Another instance of me trying to get work done that I don't necessarily need to, but I want to, just so I don't have to do it later. That's a great example of that, actually. What is this? We're gonna do this. It's because I have 3 great roommates who I'm good friends with. I'll hang out with them even outside of in the dorm. You know what I mean? I'll go hang out with them. I'll just do homework with them. I'll go. I don't really ever party. I'm gonna be honest, not a big partier. But I'll go on walks with them. I'll play Pokemon Go with them. And I like to hang out with them a lot. And they've all been really supportive of me recording. I'm not a big YouTuber by any means. I actually just hit 300 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for that, by the way. I'll get to that in a sec. But whenever I tell them I'm recording, they're like, okay. And they'll go, do whatever they're doing, but they'll do it quietly. They won't really be too loud. Sometimes you might hear them in the background, but I know they don't do it on purpose, and I really appreciate them for that. But during the summer semester, I'm still in the same room that I was in when all 3 of them were here. 2 of them aren't taking a summer semester, and the third that is actually studying abroad. He's in Australia right now, so he's not here. This looks fun. I'll get a little. I forgot about this. We've had this before, haven't we? I don't even need it. Oh, I did need it. So I was given a set of random roommates, which is normally not bad. I'm a pretty agreeable person. I like to keep my space clean. I like to be organized and stuff like that. And I like to try to be friendly with my roommates, but I can be kept to myself, for whatever reason, if my roommates aren't very extroverted, or at least as extroverted as I. I don't even know if I don't even know if I really count myself as an extrovert, but I think you guys get what I'm getting at. And I'm only able to tell this story because I know for a fact this person in question is not home. So if during the course of me telling this story, I all of a sudden stop and change the subject, it's because I heard a door open. So, be ready for a quick subject change, and I'd love if you guys don't question it. What is going on here? Hold on. This is a cool level. Nice. But so I never had to move out because, again, I was moving into the same room that I was quote unquote moving out of. So I just left my stuff here. Cleaned up a lot of the stuff in our communal living room and bathrooms and stuff. That's not what I meant to do. But I left all my stuff in my room. And I was able to actually come back to the dorm a little bit earlier than the like quote unquote move in, because I never really actually moved out, or I never really needed to. I forgot I can do that actually. It would have helped a lot. Well, when I moved back, what I believed was early. It was probably about 2 days before the scheduled move-in, from what I understood everyone else had. Just so I could kind of, I was like, okay, if I'm here first, I can kind of like help them move in if they need to. I've lived here, so it'll be kind of useful. I can kind of say like, hey, I can kind of set ground rules. You know what I mean? Like I can be like, hey, I kind of want this space to be clean. Like, let's not leave dishes in the sink, that kind of thing. Well, when I got here, I opened the door, and to say that the entire apartment was trashed would be like an understatement and a half. It was like you couldn't walk. There was actual garbage and junk everywhere. There was like broken glass. There was like half-eaten food on the table and in the kitchen. And again, I wouldn't call myself like a clean freak or anything. Oh, it's a nice level. Okay. But I like my living space to be organized and like sanitary and stuff. Because like I live here. At the end of the day, when I'm all mad and stressed from work or whatever, or from schoolwork or whatever, I want to be able to come home and like relax without being like, oh, this place smells, this place looks horrible. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's a huge ask of people I live with. It's nice to live in a place that feels clean, and I'm sure most of you would agree. This person did not. What am I supposed to do right now? Oh, this is actually kind of sick. This is really cool. No, the house was absolutely disgusting. Luckily, my door was still shut, so they hadn't gone in my room. Well, you know what's crazy is I can't even say that. I don't. We'll get to that. But so I kind of just for a bit before, because I still had a little bit to unpack, like clothes and such, and like my PlayStation and my Switch. Of course, I took that home. Okay. When I was like, before I even began unpacking, I just had to like take it all in. Like I was like, I want to say like almost like having like a panic attack. I was like, how am I going to live like this for a semester? And from what it looked like, so there's four bedrooms in my living situation right now. Great. One of them is obviously mine, and there's 3 others. And 2 of the doors were open, and there was stuff in 2 of the rooms. So I was like, not only is this gross, but I'm not the first one here, and 2 of them are already here, and that means that these 2 are okay with living like this. So I'm in the minority here. And from what I understood, I was only getting 2 roommates from what it said on our housing website. So I was like, okay, this is going to suck. I was like, I'm going to have to really either kind of come across as a jerk here and be like, yo, you guys need to clean this up, or I'm going to kind of need to live like this, because they very clearly, I assume at least, had spoken to each other and were okay living like this. Well, I'm sitting there after I had finally taken it all in. Okay. I don't know who these bots are, I'm gonna be honest. And was like unpacking my stuff, and I heard the front door open, and I was like, oh, perfect. Now I can, at least talk to them now. And two people walked in, and I was like, okay, so it's both of them. That makes this even easier. Where am I supposed to? I guess I'd be all right. I was like, now they're both here. I could talk to them both now and be like, hey, can we not live like this, please? And so they walked in, and I'm not going to say the guy's name, even though I think I'd be justified in doing so. That's cool. Have we had the magnet before? I'm not sure. And He walks in and he introduces himself. I'm like, hey, uh, I'm Max. You know, I've lived here. And I do you mind, you know, maybe cleaning this up? Like, I tried to be nice. I didn't want to come across as a jerk in my first interaction with him. And he was like, oh, yeah, no problem. Like, hold on. You gotta, like, lock in. He was like, yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed that you showed up now, with it this much of a mess. I was intending to clean it up. I didn't know you were going to be back so early. And I was kind of, like, relieved when he said that. I was like, okay, so he recognized that this is a mess. The only reason he left it like this, even though it's kind of insane that you would be able to live like this, it's just because you weren't expecting me to show up. And I was like, okay, you know, that's a pretty good response. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, like, I appreciate it. Like, just, I think that's where I left it. I was like, I appreciate it, man. I then find out that there's like I said, there was a second person that walked in with him. And I was like, are you the other roommate? And he was like, no, I'm just his friend that's been staying the week here. And I was like, oh, okay. In my head, I'm like, whatever. Like, you know, I've had friends stay before. I've had friends stay a couple days before. It's not a big deal. Especially when you didn't think there were going to be people here. And in my head, I was like, that's a little, you know, okay, you know, nobody's here and you're already having people. That's all right, you know, but it's a little awkward. And then I asked him, like, have you seen our other roommate? Because we're scheduled, you know, like, there's another room open. There's at least 2. And he was like, oh, no, my friend has just been staying in there. And immediately I'm hit with, like, that's weird. That room should have been locked. Like, I know for a fact all my roommates locked their room when they left. I don't know how he got in there. But I'm like, okay, you know, I didn't say anything, but then I think a day or 2 passes, and the house still isn't cleaned up at all. And I'm starting to get a little annoyed at this point, you know. I'm starting to talk trash about this person, my friends on Discord. You know how it is. And this is a weird level. Oh. And I send him a text. I'm like, hey, because his friend is still here and his friend is still sleeping in that room that's not his, I think is the only way I can put it. He's sleeping in a room that's not his room to sleep in, is I think literally the only way I can put it. And I'm like, hey, our other roommates, because I should mention, this guy's name wasn't listed as one of my roommates, by the way, which makes it 30 billion times more weird. Apparently, it was just an error in the system when I spoke to someone about it, but it still made me feel really weird. And I was like, hey, our other roommates are going to be moving in soon. I'd like if you maybe put a little more effort into cleaning up and then, you know, got out of that room. I didn't say this part, but I was like, you know, I was kind of implying that he should maybe consider having his friend not necessarily go home, but stop sleeping in that room that's that other person's. And I never got a reply. I didn't get a single reply. It's gonna be a little bit of a long episode. Do I want to? Yeah. Yeah, we'll try it. We'll start the level because I'm not really. I'm decently along in the story, and oh, hold on. Okay, no birds though, or no tokens or anything. Puzzle pieces. That's what they are. We're looking for 3 puzzle pieces, 7 dots. The usual. What is this to do here? Oh! Chicken backpack. And I died immediately. Anyway. I never replied to those texts. And I was like, okay. Maybe he's just doing it. And When I came back later that day, the house was still a mess, and he wasn't home. So I was like, oh. What does this do? Has it said? Wait. Oh, okay. I was like, maybe just, maybe he thinks he's gonna be able to do it really quick. I was trying to be optimistic, I think is the best way I can put it. For better or for worse. Although here was definitely for worse. Well, he didn't clean up the stuff at all. By the time the new roommates who were moving in got here, or at least the first one. And that's also really bad when you consider this new roommate's parents were here to help him move in. So they walked in, they saw this place looked as disgusting as it was. And then to make it better, so I was like, I was like pretty tired for whatever reason, so I was in my room taking a nap when they started moving in. It was like 3, I want to say. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool use of that. And so I heard like a female voice, so I was like, okay. I bet you that's the new roommate, and I bet you that's his mom or something helping him move in. So I walked out and introduced myself. I was like, hey, I'm Max. I've been living here. I've been here for a while. And where am I supposed to go? Maybe up there? I've been here for a while, so, if you need anything, let me know. I kind of know how this place works. And they were like, hey, and I guess they had figured out pretty quickly that that wasn't my stuff, because, well, 1, I was being kind of friendly, and 2, the other roommate was the one who left it a mess, was asleep on the couch, I think wearing like minimal clothing. So I think they immediately were like, hey, I think we figured out that this is not, him. They're like, do you know which living space our son is in? And I took a look at their little thing, like which room, I should say. And I took a look at their thing, and I was like, oh, you're in this first room here in the hallway. And they were like, okay, because we thought so, but when we opened the door, there was someone else's stuff, and someone was asleep in the bed. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's, something's going on. I think he's just having a little trouble moving in. Like, he's having a little, like, it's a slow move in. I was just, like, trying to kind of still not make this look like a horrible situation, because I was like, I want this person to get a good... Nice. I knew there's going to be something up here. I want this person to get a good... Oh, man. A good read on who I am. Like, I want them to see that I'm friendly and stuff. So I was trying to be nice. And they were like, okay, we'll be back. And they went and they talked to the housing people and kind of submitted a report. Well, someone came up and talked to the guy, but that's all. And that, like, wasn't great. So they decided to just get a different housing thing. So I was already down 1 roommate. And it was me, the one guy who... Aw, really? Really, where? I already missed the puzzle piece? Are you serious? Okay, we'll just come back for it. And, great. And another guy who hadn't moved in yet, who later on that night did move in. I should mention, by the way, that after... So I went down to the housing office. That's when I actually asked. I was like, hey, this guy's name wasn't on my website. Is he supposed to live here? And they were like, yeah, it was just an error in our system. But when I did, they were like, are you the guy with the mom? And I was like, probably not the one you're talking about. And they were like, okay, well, maybe this is it. Someone just kind of came down and submitted a report about what's going on down there. Oh, okay. No, that's not a puzzle piece. That's just a wait for it. Although maybe up there is. Up there is something though. And so I walked back up, and they were moving this kid's stuff out, and I was like, you know, I couldn't even be upset. I was like, that's fair. You know, this is gross. This is a horrible way to start a semester. I totally get this. Nice. And so when I walked back up and they were moving his stuff out, I walked up to the mother and I was like, hey, I appreciate you saying something. I was like, I've been trying to kind of get this in check and it's not working. So I think you saying something, and because they did come up and talk to him a little bit, I was like, hopefully that's kind of, oh, that's just where the bot was. Okay. I was like, hopefully that's kind of the good push. You know what I mean? Like that's what needed to happen. How hopelessly optimistic I was. Nothing changed. He didn't clean up at all. He still was sleeping on the couch regularly, which is like kind of whatever, but like if you're gonna do that, at least wear clothes, you know what I mean? Oh, keep dying. And yeah, so then later on in the night, I was on Discord with my friends, probably talking to them about it all. And I heard another voice that I had not heard before in the hallway. So I walked out and it was the other roommate. It was what was originally going to be our fourth. But now we had lost one, so realistically it was going to be our third at best. That's the second time I've done that. So I introduced myself. I'm like, hey, I'm Max. And he was like, hey, is this all your stuff out here? And I was like, hey, no. There's something going on. And I kind of walked through the same. I was like, here, let's step outside and we can talk about this. So I walk him through it. And he was like, wow, I'm going to let you know I'm probably going to move out too then. And I was like, yeah. I can't blame you. I was like, I wouldn't want to live like this either. But the issue with me is I don't want to have to move my stuff out when I'm just going to move back here next semester, which is, again, why I haven't moved out, because I'm just going to be back in this is annoying. I'm just going to be back in the same room anyway. Can I do this? That makes it way easier. And because otherwise I would have just moved out. I would have like not dealt with this. Whatever this guy is. Oh, I see. And so yeah, then he moved out, and now it's just me and this one roommate who I've continued having problems with, where I have to beg them to clean up. Which I'll just say, he's a little old to be having problems like this. You know, he's at the age where you should start really thinking about other people and how the way you're living is inexcusable. And I hate to be mean like that, but this is my living situation too. And it was my living situation before it was yours. Like, you're kind of moving into my space, I'll say. And I'm absolutely willing to share it, and I'm absolutely willing to recognize that you pay just as much as I do to live here. But you've got to not be a jerk, and you've got to live like a human and not like a slob. I keep not that. And that's making recording really difficult, because he's the type to kind of like listen to stuff at full blast in the hallways whenever he wants, even if it's like 3 a.m. And that's normally I don't record that late, but I'm just using that as an example of like the type of person he is. I'll say, and I've spoken to him. I actually, I've been as nice as I could be about it, but there was a point where I kind of snapped on him, and I was like, you need to get this in check. I at that point, believe it or not, that was like 2-3 weeks after I'd moved in, 2.5, more like it, I think. And the day I moved in, there were dishes in the sink, and that was I brought it to his attention that those were the same dishes still in the sink. That they'd been in there for 2.5 weeks, and it was like full. Like, I couldn't use the sink for 2.5 weeks. I would have to like wash my dishes in like my bathroom sink, which obviously is a pain. And he's done a little bit better about cleaning up, but he's not great. And it's also like, I shouldn't have had to tell you to do that. So that's made living very difficult. So yeah, it's kind of thrown my recording schedule out of whack. Oh, that's the way I'm supposed to go? We're dropping back down. So yeah, you guys are getting a long episode because of that little story. I hope you guys enjoy. I missed a bot too. Great. That's okay. I've been kind of distracted. Well, hold on. I actually might know where it is. There's a thing we didn't pull over here. There's a couple of them. Yep, and there's a bot right there. But yeah, so it's been difficult to be me, I think is the best way to put it. But I'm making it work. I'm starting to finally, I wouldn't say get used to it, but I'm starting to take it in stride. You know what I mean? Like I expect it, so I'm able to kind of plan around it, which is, it's a shame that I have to do that. I live here, you live here. Why are we letting it be this way? But that's the only option at this point, and I've just come to accept it. I've still been fine recording wise, and I'm getting all my schoolwork done as I need to. So I'm not really super worried about that. But yeah, if you guys notice a dip in my what I would like to think is naturally sunny disposition, that's why. I like try to be optimistic, but sometimes stuff like that, wears on you, especially when you come home from a long day and you can't use the sink, and the house smells, and there's dirt on the ground. This is about as much as I really want to go into it with you guys. There's a bit more to it, but I think that's as much as you guys need to paint the full picture. That's great. How do I get you, dude? There we go. Perfect. Okay. I may have just heard a door. I'm trying to listen. Hold on. Let me take like a headphone off. You guys get to see me in real time. Feel the fear that is. You might have just heard everything I said. I don't think so. I think I'm imagining it. Even if so, it's like, whatever, dude. Like, you did this. But yeah, so that's kind of my throwing my recording schedule out of whack. So I took like a bit of a week off to kind of just like, I don't know, take the week off. So I'm a little bit behind. Like normally I like to be a little bit further ahead than I am. But that's okay. I'm not like, that's great. I'm not like super far behind or anything. I mean, I'm still ahead, and that's what matters. So but yeah, now you guys get a longer episode out of it. So I hope you guys are enjoying. Let's bring up those pillars. There we go. I see the puzzle piece down there. Getting to it, on the other hand. Oh, I bet you it's definitely just a hole here somewhere. Great. Okay, at least I see what it is. I kind of need to lock in and finish this level because it's getting real long. Ooh, I kind of almost ate it there. I think it's just bots left, right? Obviously, we're missing one puzzle piece, but let's do all that. This feels weird. Maybe it's not. Oh, that's interesting. Not the biggest fan of this chicken power-up. It's all right, but not my favorite by any means. Awesome. And I didn't activate that spawn point. Okay. Anyway, let's play Astrobot. But yes, I should mention, by the way, 300 subscribers is awesome. I'm so happy. It was like late at night when I noticed, and it was actually someone commenting, talking about how I've got serious dedication for posting every day, despite only having 300 subscribers. And I saw the comment, and I was like, 300 subscribers. I was like immediately shocked. I was like, okay, sick. And I looked, and yeah, this series, as well as Mario and Luigi, are both doing really, really well, better than any of my other series by far. And that's super awesome to see. It's nice to hopefully, I believe I might have finally found a decent audience of at least 300 people who think I'm worth coming back to, which is great to hear. And I really, really appreciate that for all of you guys watching, and for all of you guys that are, even if you're skipping this episode for whatever reason. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. This has always just been kind of like I'll say a passion of mine. I don't know. I like playing video games, and it's nice to play video games and have it kind of like, I'll say documented for some reason, like so people can watch me play if they want to. I can show that like, hey, I played this game, I did this and this, and if you want video proof, here it is. Like, it feels like even when I'm just fooling around playing video games, it feels like I'm working towards something, and that really, plays into my dopamine hits, I guess, very well. So that's kind of why I started this. I didn't really, and I still don't really ever expect it to take off in an insane way or anything. But it does feel nice to have at least some sort of little audience. And so I really appreciate you guys for being that audience. It means a lot to me that people like to watch me play video games and talk about my bad roommates and my my sometimes lackluster college life and struggle to get this last spot. There we go. And I really appreciate you guys for sticking around for that. I know my quality in both visual, because I have a kind of old capture card, and commentary quality could be better. But I like to think I've come a decent ways. I like to think I've gotten better as time has gone on. So, it feels good to see that paying off, even if I missed that little bonus at the end. So, but I'm gonna call this episode here. It's getting insanely long. Bit of a talking heavy episode. We got quite a bit done though. We got actually quite a bit done. We did like a lot of levels. Longer episodes, that makes sense. But I think we're gonna head back, try to find that last puzzle piece we missed in that previous level, the Trapped in Time level. So looking forward to that. Make sure you see you next time. Again, thank you for watching and have a good day.